What is up, fellow summoners? Welcome to the channel today. Thanks for stopping by. I must apologize up front to those who have been waiting for 4.4. I know there's been quite a delay between when I last put out 4.3 and this video. It's just a matter of the difficulty level between 4.3 and 4.4. It steps up quite a bit, and you really need a lot of your top champs to be able to clear these fights without using a lot of items. So unfortunately for me, with Alliance Quest and Alliance Wars and all those events running at the same time, a lot of my champs are tied up over there, so grabbing the footage was a little bit more difficult and took quite a bit more time. The other issue, and probably the bigger issue, is that with the evade bug that we see right now with not being able to double dash back, that really affects the Thanos fight, and I didn't want to put this guide together with that evade bug still going on. I was hoping that they were going to fix it, but unfortunately they have not fixed it. I don't know if that's how they intend it to be. So for the time being, I'm just going to show you the issues I'm having with Thanos, the issues that you're going to run into, and hopefully if they fix the evade buff, the fight will be easier. But that's kind of what I was waiting for. Unfortunately, we didn't see it, so it is what it is, and knowing that now, we will move forward into the first fight. So up first is Kamala Khan, and she, along with every other fight in this 4.4, she's got the spiked armor, which we saw first in 4.1. Essentially, whenever you crit, portion of that crit is returned to you as damage. So there's really only two ways to work around that. Obviously, you can either bring in a champ with a reliable regen to work around that damage you're receiving, or you can bring in Crossbones, who doesn't crit as part of his play style, so you can work around it there. Unfortunately for him though, and the reason I probably wouldn't use him in this first fight, is that he doesn't have a reliable regen, and you really need him for some of the later fights. Kamala Khan is not a difficult character, but when you're baiting out a lot of specials, she stacks her Furies up, and when you're blocking, that block damage is still fairly high because of all those Furies. So for those reasons, I would probably skip on Crossbones in this fight and bring out somebody who's got a reliable regen. In particular, also somebody who's got a bleed with all the physical resistance buffs that she gains. It is helpful to finish the fight quicker if you've got a regen plus a bleed. So X23, Wolverine are both excellent characters for this fight. But outside of the spiked armor, really there's not a lot that you need to worry about in this fight. Just parry stun, bait out specials as you normally would, and you'll be able to easily make it through this fight. So let's be real here, you're probably just watching this guide because you want to know what I did to get through Punisher. And if you've not fought this Punisher before, if you're just getting into 4.4, this is a huge pain to complete this fight. You've got the spiked armor just like Kamala Khan, so all of your crits are doing damage to yourself. But on top of that, and more importantly, you have a degeneration that's placed on you from the very beginning of the fight. And the more health that Punisher loses, the more damage you take from degeneration. So at the beginning there, I think I was ticking for around 4 per tick. As you do a couple of hits, now you can see that's up to 12, and that just keeps growing and growing. The other issue you have to keep in mind is that his special attacks, there's two problems with them. One, you can see there that you still do take quite a bit of damage even when you're blocking the specials. And secondly, and probably more importantly, is that those special animations take every bit of 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds before you can go back in and attack. And when you're baiting out, let's say between 5 and 10 of those per fight, that's somewhere between 10 seconds to 20 seconds, somewhere where you're just standing there taking degeneration. So the way that I found, and probably the best way, is to bring in a magic. If you've got a 5-star duped magic, rank 3, rank 4, that's perfect case scenario. If you don't, let's say you've only got maybe a rank 4 or 4-star, I would probably try to supplement some of that by giving a health boost, and also maybe the additional 20% hit, crit, and health boost. So you can get as much health as you possibly can get, because that's the biggest thing here. But magic, you can use your S2 to lock him down. You're not going to have to worry about the specials, the damage that you receive from them, and also you don't have to worry about having some downtime while you're waiting for the specials to end. And you can just keep getting back to your S2, using it over and over and over again. The other thing that really helps in this fight, and the reason why you really have to have her duped, is that you'll trigger Limbo quite a bit throughout the fight, which is going to reverse all of that degeneration. It's going to reverse all of the critical damage, spiked damage that you're taking as well. So really, I think that I could never get him down in one fight. This was my closest. There were many times where I had him just within just a couple of hits. But I think magic is best case scenario. Boost her up if you've got her as a 4-star. That's probably going to be the easiest way for you to get through it. Now, I realize that not everybody is going to have a high duped ranked 5-star magic. I understand that. But you just need to be aware that regardless of the characters you bring in here, you're probably going to lose one before you finish this fight. It's going to take 2 characters, and one of them is going to die. The strategy that you need to employ is that whoever you bring in first, that's your heavy hitter. That character is probably going to do at least 75% of the damage, if not more, before you bring in the second character to finish him off. I had quite a bit of success with X-23. Her high bleed damage, class advantage, crit rate, a little bit of regen. Most of the time I could get him pretty far down. Wolverine, you got to take actually a little bit slower at the beginning, especially when you're getting your regens and it's overpowering the degeneration. Don't go in and attack. Just kind of let that regen build yourself all the way back up. Then go in and attack and cause the bleed. You got to kind of extend the fight a little bit that way. But Archangel would be an excellent champ here with his poison and his bleeds. Iceman probably not a bad choice here as well. Really just anybody that you can bring in that's going to do a significant amount of damage before that degeneration gets you, because it is going to get you one way or the other. And then the next champ you bring in, you should only have maybe, let's say, between like 20,000, 25,000, somewhere around their health left. You should be able to knock that out before you die if you're not taking any damage other than just block damage. So the design of the fight, it works just like a man wants it. It's a pain. It's very frustrating. It's meant to cause you to use items, to buy things. It just is. It is what it is, and you need to be aware of that. So don't feel bad if you can't get through it with one fight. I could never get through it with one fight. Got really close many, many times with Magic. If I went back a couple more times and recorded it, I probably could get it. But yeah, was just done playing with Punisher and wanted to move on from that point. So let me know if you've got any other better options out there, something that's maybe worked for you specifically, a champ that I'm not thinking of. But yeah, do your best. It's going to take a couple champs to get through him. Superior Iron Man is the next champ up after Punisher, which in comparison to that fight you just went through with Punisher, this is so much easier. This reminds me very much of the first fight in 4.4 against Kamala Khan. There's nothing inherently difficult about Superior Iron Man if you're familiar with his animations. If you can bait out his specials, they can all be easily evaded. He does have a Mystic Ward, so there's an 80% chance you're not going to be able to remove his armor up buffs. So if you brought in maybe a Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch, you'll notice that you're probably not having as much luck trying to remove a lot of those physical resistance buffs that he's got. The other thing that probably would help you here is, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but if you've got bleed champs, because of all that physical resistance, the bleeds will help cut through all of that and finish the fight off quicker. If you have a Ghost Rider that you've brought in, this is probably a pretty good spot to use him at. With the Fate Seal from the S1 and the S3, you'll be able to kind of limit the amount of armor ups he's getting. Also be able to remove the Arc Overload buff that he triggers, the health regeneration there at the end as well. But really, if you've got your parry game on point, if you've got dexterity and you can evade, this is kind of, I guess, a little bit of a breather and a rest after the Punisher fight before you kind of move further into 4.4. Warmachine is up next on the list, and I mean, honestly, I don't really have a whole lot of insight for you on this fight. It's just really not that difficult. He's very, very similar character to the fight you just went through with Superior Iron Man. Similar playstyles, physical resistance buff, armor up buffs. All of that is pretty much the same. There's two main differences. One being that obviously Warmachine's S1 with kind of the arm machine gun thing, you cannot fully evade. Don't try to evade it. It will clip you and you'll have a fairly significant bleed that's placed on you. So that's one of the main two differences. The other is that he does not have the Mystic Ward, meaning that all of his armor up abilities and physical resistance buffs that he gets can be nullified fairly quickly. So if you are running Mystic Champ into 4.4, you can use them here to be able to remove all of those armor up abilities fairly quickly and kind of get through the fight quicker that way. Really, there's nothing special. I wish I had more of an insight to give to you, but it's just really not too difficult of a fight. See Superior Iron Man, see Kamala Khan. If you can parry stun, if you can evade the specials, or in this case, block the S1, you'll be fine. Scarlet Witch can be a little bit of a tricky fight. She's got obviously the spiked armor buff, just like everybody else. But also, in addition to that, the S1 from Scarlet Witch is unblockable. And the S1 has got a little bit of a delayed timing on it. If you try to evade back right when you see her using the S1, it's going to hit you. You need to wait almost just a half second when you see her start to use it before you evade back. The way that I like to play it is when I see her getting ready to use the S1, I go ahead, I just stand there, I use my block, and you almost just have to wait for the animation, the little ball of magic or whatever you want to call it, gets to you. basically, as you see it hitting you, you evade back. It's much easier to do it that way. That was probably a terrible explanation. You can kind of see it here with Crossbones. If you have trouble evading the S1 fully because of kind of that delayed timer, try to push her as much as you can into the S2. That's a much easier, less complicated animation to try to evade. Now, the thing you have to keep in mind with Scarlet Witch is that one of the debuffs that she can put on you is poison. She can put a poison debuff and also a heal block on you. So there's two ways you can play around it. You can either bring in a champ who's poison immune, so Ultron, Vision, Hulk. If you want to bring in any of those champs, that's one way to play around it. You're still going to be dealing though with all of the other issues with the spike buff having damage from critical hits, and then every time you're hitting her with a critical hit, there's all kinds of other debuffs she can place on you. So for me personally, I found that Crossbones was the absolutely perfect champ for this. Obviously, he does not take damage because he's not critting, so you don't have to worry about the spike buff. But then also, because he isn't critting, you never have to worry about her placing a debuff on you. So even though he's not poison immune, you'll never have a poison debuff, you'll never have heal block, anything like that. And really, if you've got Crossbones, this is an excellent opportunity to bring him in. I didn't really find it necessary a lot of the times to try to evade back and hold down my block to get the extra Furies built up. I felt that it was a little bit of an unnecessary measure, just complicating the fight a little bit more than it really needed to be. If you just focus on evading the S1 properly, focus on parrying, really that's really the main focus of this fight. Crossbones is a lot of fun to fight with. This is probably one of the first fights you can bring him in if you haven't already used him, maybe on Warmachine or Superior Iron Man. Bring him in here, take out Scarlet Witch, and then you'll use him again in the very next fight against Yellow Jacket. So Yellow Jacket has got an unblockable S1, and I think it's really funny. I just put a video together on Monday of how to evade unblockable Yellow Jacket on an S1. And I totally forgot that he was in here on 4.4. I put that video together with Season 4 Map 5 in mind, that third tier where you see him on the left side. And I'm really glad that I put that video together because I was fully prepared for this node. Had I not put that together, I probably would have screwed this up really bad. But when I got to Yellow Jacket, I realized, hey, he's unblockable S1. I feel totally comfortable with this. So I'll leave a link in the description to that video. Go watch it. It's going to give you more detail than you'll find here. But I will show here the whole fight on how I do it. Basically, there's two things you got to keep in mind. When you are attacking Yellow Jacket and you push him into 1 bar of power, never finish that combo with 5 hits. If you try to finish it with 5 hits and you're doing a medium or a light, finishing the combo, it doesn't give you quite enough time to be able to evade back and give yourself enough space. If you see yourself, when you're attacking him, pushing him into his special one and you don't have a special attack of your own ready, only finish with a light attack on the 4th hit and immediately evade back. And if you do that, it gives you enough space that if Yellow Jacket wants to use his special right there, you can evade back one more time and you'll be clear. Or that sets you up to be able to kind of sit there and see what he's going to do. If he's going to dash forward at you, you wait till the last second and evade back from that. And again, that's going to give you enough space that you need that whenever he does decide finally to use that S1, you can fully evade it. I really enjoy playing Yellow Jacket. I'm so glad, like I said, that I put that video together. I'm very confident in being able to evade that every single time. If you can, as much as possible, try to push him into the S2, which if you don't have Crossbones here, let's say you brought in Hulk for the poison immunity with Scarlet Witch, you are going to be taking spike damage, but he's an excellent option here because you can stun him for a long time. You can push him into the S2. So either way, whatever strategy you want to use is fine. Just you got to be fully aware of how to evade that S1 every single time. The second to last character you face is Wolverine right before Thanos, and he is on a stun immune node, so you can't parry and stun him, which I kept forgetting about in this fight. Also, he's on an all or nothing node, so he's going to save up all of his power until he gets to 3 full bars of power. So you have to be able to bring in somebody that can power control. And my intention was to bring in Vision to both heal block and power control him, but I realized once I finally got to this fight that I completely forgot to bring him in. So I had to switch tactics a little bit and bring in magic, and I play so terribly in this fight. I wish I had a better fight to show you, but it kind of is what it is. I got saved by Limbo there on a number of occasions, but don't forget you can't parry stun him. That kept getting me there at the beginning until I realized that he was stun immune. But essentially, the tactic is, even if you cannot heal block, if you can power control, you can minimize greatly the amount of regen that he's getting. So you'll see it a couple times, even when I do trigger a regen, even if it's 1 bar of power, but a lot of times it'll be 0. Like right now, he's ticking for like 58, something like that. When I power drain him down, it's only 16. So if you can control the power, it's almost just as good as a heal lock, which if I wouldn't have taken so much damage there at the beginning of the fight, I would have been fine. What eventually gets me, once I finally get into a groove here, is the spiked buff. The damage from critical hits does eventually take me out. You know, if you've got a champ that can regen and power control, that's best case scenario. You know, Scarlet Witch comes to mind right away, but you just cannot rely on either the regen or the power lock, unfortunately, with her. You know, if everything times up perfectly, she's going to blow through this fight fairly quickly. Voodoo might be another one that you can bring in. He's got that regeneration at the beginning. Then he's got the power control. Ghost Rider also might be a decent champ here. Might be a little bit more difficult to power control, but I didn't test him out. Really, anybody that can power control is what you're looking for here. If I'd have brought the Vision in, that would have been a much better probably fight to show you than this. But it is what it is. Yeah, I think right here, one of these next hits gets me and takes me out with a spike debuff. I do have to regen and come back in, so don't make my mistake. Make sure you bring in the right champs from the get-go. So if you have managed frustratingly to get through all of the fights, Punisher, Scarlet Witch, Yellow Jacket, Wolverine, you have made it all the way to the end. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Unfortunately, you are about to get screwed over by the evade bug, which up until this point, on all the other fights, it really hasn't been a big deal. But it really kind of reared its ugly head when I was fighting Thanos. Thanos, the fight himself, the character himself, is that this fight is not that difficult. He's got a kinetic reactor. Basically, whenever he's hitting a block target, he's still receiving power. But outside of that, his specials are easy to evade. You can parry stun him. You can power control him. You can bleed him, whatever you're going to do. But the problem comes in when you're trying to bait out a special. Let's say he's got 1 bar of power or 2 bars of power. You're trying to bait out the special, and he charges in at you to use like a medium attack, and he follows that up with a second medium attack. In the past, you evade back again, no problem. But now with this evade quote-unquote bug going on, I don't know if it was a silent nerf or not, sometimes I evade back twice and it works normally. I can completely evade all of his normal attacks. Other times I try to do the exact same thing and I can only evade once and then he hits me. So what ends up happening, because I don't know if it's ever going to work or if it's not going to work, I have to evade back once and then just hold my block. And you're either going to have to sit there and eat that block damage, which is a lot, or if you evade back once and you let off your block to try to evade back again, he's going to hit you right in the face, and he hits really hard, and you're going to blow through a ton of items. So I wish I had better news for you, but to be honest, until we see a fix to this evade, I would not recommend that you spend the time, that you spend the items to get all the way down to this fight, just to be super frustrated and have to blow through the rest of your inventory to finish it. I think there's enough pushback and enough blowback from the community right now that we will see a change to it, whether it was a silent nerf or whether it's a bug. Either way, I feel like it needs to be changed because it is totally screwed the ability for you to get through fights based upon your skill. This damage that you're taking has nothing to do with your skill level, has everything to do with the fact that the game is not working as it was just a couple of weeks ago. So outside of that, you know, if you do have a power control champ, you will be able to get through this. If you can get him down into a corner, you can continue to parry him. You can get, like in Magic's case, back to your S2 and use it over and over again to keep from having to back away and try to bait out specials. That's one way to do it. But either way, it's just very frustrating. I didn't even finish the fight. I was not about to blow through a bunch of revives and potions just to show a KO on him. I was not about to give Kabam that satisfaction, knowing I've blown through all of my inventory to get this. So that's my 2 cents. I would sit tight and wait till we see a change on that evade before you attempt this. If it wasn't there, it would be a much easier fight, but unfortunately, that kind of is what we're dealing with right now. I really hate to end the video on such a down note like that. It's not really my intention. I'm just trying to present the clearest advice in the game as it currently is. Hopefully, the rest of this video will be able to prepare you and get you ready for whenever they do finally fix the evade. you can run in there and complete 4.4. The difficulty level is ramped up quite a bit from 4.3 like I mentioned, but that's not a bad thing. It's supposed to be a challenge, it's supposed to be difficult, and you really feel like you've accomplished something once you've gotten through it. Alright guys, hope this has helped you out. 4.5 is next up on the docket. Would say it's probably going to take at least another week to get that one out, so sit tight. We'll get through everything one way or the other. Whether they fix the evade buff or not, I will get those videos put together and get them out for you. Alright guys, take care. Have a good day. We'll see you in the next one.